What's our true nature? What's your true nature? Without understanding that, it's impossible to understand your frequent insomnia. There's no issue about the fact that we're persons, body-minds. Are we anything more than persons? If so, what? Let's keep our analysis as simple as possible, without being too simple. Let's first ensure we're clear about what a person is, and then wonder if there's anything more to us. I'm deliberately oversimplifying what follows on the assumption that what you want is to dissolve your regular insomnia rather than to engage in an extended discussion about reality and how we apprehend it. Without the theory, though, the practice I recommend in the following video won't make any sense, which makes it unlikely you'll do it. Could we understand everything about us in terms of our bodies? No, we are more than just bodies. Here's a rock paperweight. A critical difference between me and it is that I'm perceiving it, although it's not perceiving me. I'm conscious of it, but it's not conscious of me. If so, it's simply false that the concept of existence is applicable only to physical objects. Even if I were mistaken, even if it were false that I'm now perceiving this rock before me, the thought that there's a rock before me now is not itself a physical object. It's neither solid, nor liquid, nor gas, nor plasma, not even spatial. Could we understand everything about us in terms of just our bodies and our minds? That's the interesting question. Having a mind is having thoughts. We don't just have some degree of sentience, but we're able to make judgments, to use concepts, to make statements that are either true or false. Rocks can't do that, which is why it would be absurd to think that a rock or any other inanimate object has a mind. Simple, singular thoughts are always about limited or bounded objects or forms, such as rocks, or qualities, such as shapes, colors, and sizes. They are always separable from their backgrounds, which may be unlimited or unbounded. We're able to single out objects or forms for attention, whether or not they exist or are taken to exist. Objects of non-vertical perceptions and some dream objects are examples of those that don't exist. When we take thoughts to be true, whether or not they're true or taken to be true, we also have beliefs. Some beliefs are central to having emotions, which are intimately connected with our bodies. For example, if you fear for your life, your blood pressure may spike and your heart rate increase. We're able to have in mind lots of different kinds of objects. Ultimately, a mind just is a set of objects. To be conscious of an object is just having it in mind. The noun mind doesn't denote something over and above all those objects. It's the ability to be conscious of objects. Language here is often as misleading. The noun mind comes from the verb to mind, as in mind the baby, or do you mind that nobody asked you to dance? Let's consider a simple example. I enter my office and see the rock paperweight on my desk. There's the rock itself, and there's my perception of it. Perceiving is a primary way of being conscious. There's the physical rock itself and the non-physical perception of the rock that occurs when I single it out or notice it. Is the rock real? If I had a question about whether my visual perception was a delusion, I'd try to touch it. If I did touch it, I'd judge it to exist, to be an entity rather than a non-entity. The judgment that the rock I'm seeing is the rock I'm touching is an identity judgment. The visual object is distinguishable from the tactile object. They require two different perceptions. The judgment that the rock exists is a two-in-one identity judgment that one rock has been singled out in two ways. Try to imagine what it would be like if visual objects were not identified with tactile objects. Without such existential or identity judgments, there'd be no world. There'd only be an incoherent chaos of separate forms or objects. There'd be no recurrence, repetition, There'd be no understanding. Those judgments constitute our realities. If we were either unable to single out forms or unable to re-identify them, there'd be no intelligibility, no world. Yes, sometimes we make mistakes, such as in a nightmare. However, it doesn't follow from that they are all somehow delusional. All right, let's ask, am I the rock? No, I'm not the rock. It's just something on my desk that I perceive. Am I the perception of the rock? No, I'm able to perceive it, and I have a perception which is either something I have or don't have. I'm capable of seeing, touching, or otherwise perceiving the rock, but that's just an ability. It's not what I am. If I lost the ability to perceive it, I'd still be the same. So I have a body, that's true. I identify with this particular animated skin bag. It's not, however, all that I am. I could even lose great pieces of it, such as my arms and legs, without diminishing at all what it means to be me. I have a mind. I naturally identify with my mind as well as my body. However, it's not that I take myself to be my thoughts. After all, when I change my mind, when I stop believing something, I don't stop being me. I have lots of thoughts, but I don't take myself just to be those thoughts. So I'm not just a body, and I'm not just a mind or set of thoughts. I'm the person who has a certain body and mind. That's what it is to be a person, a body-mind. You too are a person. A person has a story, a biography. Your story stretches back for decades. It's been conditioned and formed in many different ways over the years. Nobody else's story is just like yours. Yours is unique. You existed in the past, you exist now, and you shall, let's hope, exist for a long time in the future. Your story, your personhood, includes everything that's happened to and been done by your body as well as your mind, what's happening now, and whatever may happen in the future. You think of yourself as that whole set of experiences. That's your life. It includes all your thoughts, perceptions, conceptions, decisions, actions, successes, failures, and so on. That's what you are. In other words, you correctly take yourself to be a self, a personality, an ego. People exist as forms in becoming, which, again, is the spatial temporal domain that is filled with different entities that are in incessant flux. The issue is whether or not you're anything more than a person. Yes, you're much more than just a person. Realizing that, as opposed to just thinking it, requires understanding that although thought requires consciousness, consciousness doesn't require thought. Permit me to leave you with an experiment, a remembrance, which we'll consider more thoroughly next time. You've almost certainly, on occasion, experienced alert consciousness devoid of thought. Or you could have experienced it. For example, you're sitting quietly and an incredibly loud, unexpected explosion goes off nearby. For a couple of seconds, it's as if it knocks all thoughts out of your mind. You're alert, you're conscious, but you're thoughtless. Then they rush in again and you begin asking questions such as, what was that? Or you're driving around a bend in the road and unexpectedly you suddenly see a sunset of such exquisite beauty that it seems to suck out all thought. Or you wake up in the morning and just enjoy being alive and conscious for a few moments before the usual heavy avalanche of thoughts descends. Such episodes are sufficient to prove that thoughtless, alert consciousness can occur. And the fact that it can occur proves that you're more than just a person.